Good night, Trinidad. All right, so good night, Trinidad and Tobago. I am the UTOM chairman for the Progressive Empowerment Party, and all week, for this entire week, we are going to be hosting this type of show. It's a special edition show from the Progressive Empowerment Party, but this time included with the party organizer, Satish Ramsaran, who is joining me now. Good night, Satish.
Good night, everybody. How you guys doing?
Nice. Outside of Satish Ramsaran joining us, we also have the political leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party, Philip Edward Alexander, also joining us for this special live tonight. Mr. Alexander, good night to you. One sec, Miss Alexander. Hold on, hold on. Good night once again, Miss Alexander.
You hearing me?
I am.
Good night to you. Good night to the audience. Good night to Mr. Ramsaran. Thanks to both of you for hosting this first in a series of panel shows this week. And I look forward to whatever you two throw at me.
Nice. So, as many persons.
And we are doing calls, right? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm assuming that both of you are the hosts.
Well, I guess so.
Or are you the host and Satish? No, both of you are the hosts. But I'm saying this, and I want Trinidad to hear me say this early o'clock. Tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, I'll be on a radio interview, a very powerful radio station, and a radio interview. But I'm not telling Trinidad and Tobago, the radio station, until tomorrow morning, just before the interview, because ghosts appear in the machine to bounce off our interviews and stuff like that. So I'm just saying. Back to you, sir.
Nice. So, as many persons would know right now, the Progressive Empowerment Party continues to do as much as it can to assist persons in Trinidad and Tobago, to bring the truth to persons in Trinidad and Tobago. In recent weeks, we saw the political leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party, Philip Edward Alexander, and the PEP itself deliver a letter to the DPP in relation to the former Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith, and some statements that Gary Griffith would have made on a public platform. But not only that, the PEP continues to stand up where you have other political parties or political leaders refuse to stand up for people. In terms of the David Death Strip, you all know what we did down there, the David Death Strip, and putting up barrels down there, trying to get the ministry to actually pay attention to a highway that comes to an abrupt end. And we continue to stand in place of truth and righteousness in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, coming up in just a few days, actually, we have a public meeting. It is time for unity. It's time for integrity, time for a better plan, time to fix Trinidad and Tobago. Now, you have heard the slogan, Phillip will fix it. Many persons say that it's a one-man show and it's this and it's that and the other. But tonight, no holds barred Trinidad and Tobago. Tonight, we are going to ask the political leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party all of the questions that we ever could ask him right now. And for the entire week, we'll be taking your calls and your opinion on everything involving the political leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party, Philip Edward Alexander, and the PEP itself. So, Ms. Alexander, firstly, we have this event coming up this Saturday, actually, November 19th, 2022. Many persons say that it's a Phillip show, first of all. Philip, tell me if this is a Phillip event that is coming up on November 19th.
Well, first of all, I want to say there could be nothing sexier than a Phillip show, and I would attend that. So those who are having a problem with it being a Phillip show, and this is me actually just having fun with the crap they're saying, I want to tell you that we're going to have some surprise commentators, guests speaking at this event on the 19th Saturday coming. That's going to continue the aftershocks of the tremors that the Progressive Empowerment Party has put into the political landscape. We are the only political party disconnected from the contract mafia. No other party could say that. We have no family members who have received millions from financiers. We have no connections to former financiers and beneficiaries of government largesse. This is a political movement by the people, for the people, of the people. And I think our policies speak for themselves. I think the amount of work that we do, you and Precious, chair of the Women's Arm together, the amount of work that you all do, I can't even keep up with that. Satish Ramsarana's party organizer, Felicia Holder, the chairman, she and her team and the work that's going on the ground. Not to mention the countless shadow MPs. Today, I'm going about my business today and the party's business today, but I'm getting updated through my assistant about stuff going on in Pointe-à-Pierre, stuff going on in Point Fortin, our shadow MPs on the ground dealing with that. So they're going to run out of things to say eventually. But what does Gandhi said? First they laugh at you, then they ignore you, then they fight you, then you win. We here to win. We here to win for Trinidad and Tobago. I think the 19th of November is going to be instructive to all of us. If the people of Trinidad and Tobago want a better country, they'll come out in their numbers. Because it'll send a clear message to the government. It'll send a clear message to everybody in the country. We, the people, are fed up.
Now, forgive me, tonight I'm going to be playing the devil's advocate because, you know, I come from the background of the UNC as well, all right? We can't get past that. And you, me and Satish. So we're going to play the devil's advocate asking yourself the hard questions, huh?
Just now, he just heard it. Let him tell you why he laughed.
Satish, tell us why you're laughing there, Satish. You're vexed to come from the UNC too?
No, I was never in the UNC. But when Phillip first met me, apparently there was a running joke between the team there that when I wasn't there, that Phillip thought I was a UNC spy. And he didn't want to know my name for about 3 months.
well, I could possibly be the spy, Phillip. I could possibly be the spy. So I'm going to play the devil's advocate.
You know how open this organization is. You don't need much to spy. You could just walk in the door and we're there. Anyway, continue, Mr. Devil's Advocate.
Mr. Devil's Advocate tonight. Now, Phillip, many persons have a problem with the Phillip would fix it slogan. There's a lot of persons in Trinidad and Tobago now that believe that it should not be Phillip will fix it and PEP will fix it. Now, you see that across social media. You see people saying, oh, Phillip like too much of fame, Phillip like too much of this, and you should be promoting the party a little bit more. Why Phillip will fix it and not PEP will fix it?
Well, first of all, do you know where the term devil's advocate came from?
Tell me.
Keep us three on the screen. I like the three of us on the screen. I like seeing you two on. Do you know where the term devil's advocate came from?
No. Where?
You see, and I just want to add this here because and Satish could tell you, we made a decision a long time ago that our mission is to inform, educate, and empower. And the term devil's advocate, there's an actual position in the Vatican called the devil's advocate, you know. It's literally the devil's lawyer. And if somebody is to be beatified, if they recommend somebody for beatification, which is sainthood, the devil's advocate at the trial, his or her job, depending on who, but it's usually cardinals, and cardinals are usually men. But his job is to give you every reason why that person should not be a saint. He literally represents the devil at that trial. That's why it's called the devil's advocate. And that's where, so that's why you say I will throw that part of the conversation. Anyway, so why Phillip will fix it? For the same reason, Phillip has gone to front for so long. From the very beginning, I had to learn how to take all of the hits that come with politics. Plenty of people want to be in politics. Plenty of people want to be in organizations like the Progressive Empowerment Party, but they're afraid of licks. They're afraid of the amount of bad talk. They're afraid of the amount of character assassination. They're afraid of threats. They're afraid of terrorizing of their families and stuff. So a lot of people who are still involved in this political movement, who are working hard at building this political movement, I allow them to stand behind me. So I take all the hits on a daily and hourly basis. It's gotten to the point that they can say what they want and it just bounces off me now. They've been doing it for so long that I no longer even take it on. I don't know what they could come up with and say that could bother me anymore. But the Phillip will fix it started by showing one person could get stuff done. And we didn't make that up, We didn't make that up. Citizens made it up. During the downtime of leading up to the 2020 election, we were responding to a lot of stuff on the ground. And people were telling one another, and they would come back to us on WhatsApp that somebody say, hey, I got your number from somebody, let me contact Phillip because Phillip will fix it. So we just took it. We lifted it from that because it was being said on social media. Phillip will fix it. Satish hashtag it, and then it became a thing. But what's happening now is we have David Welch as a shadow MP, and David does stuff, and David hashtag David will fix it, or hashtag Sheldon will fix it, or hashtag Omra will fix it, or John hashtag Lima will fix it, depending on your level of I guess, notoriety or how much people know your name, they will understand what it means. Pep, it doesn't have to say Pep will fix it because all the videos start and end with Pep. And they understand that Pep is the party, right? So it's not like when people pick up the phone, and I have to explain to somebody today who came on the thread because a woman wrote me today from the registered nurses who said they didn't get their money as yet, the money that they were promised, that the government got all the credit for. The government beat their chest to say they're giving the nurses all this money and they allocate it to the budget, and the nurses have never gotten this money. So a nurse wrote me today to ask me about it, and I shared it. I redacted her name and I shared it. And somebody came on the thread and said, but Phillip is not in government. And I had to say, because I know she's on the thread too. And I don't want her to take it as we allowing people to come at her like that. And I said to him, no, but Phillip is somebody that people knows. Phillip is somebody with a certain amount of power. And somebody that people could pick up the phone and send a WhatsApp or make a call to and reach somebody and have something done. Satish could tell you, Indira Singh, my assistant could tell you, all day today they're trying to get in touch with Carol Muller. God bless Carol Muller's soul. Carol Muller trying to get us down in Manzanilla for the past, 3 months to solve a problem. But in the order of pressing issues that come up on a daily basis, Carol has been pushed back. And today we were trying to go down Manzanilla, we couldn't get Carol on the phone.
No, but on what you said at the start, right? Is it that you're saying that your shadow MPs do not have what it takes to take the blows that come with being a shadow MP?
I'm not saying that at all. I think that Satish and team have picked a formidable bunch of guys. But I'm still saying that...
And woman.
And women.
And, well, guys and girls. But I want to say this, right? It's only when the heat start, because we've had people come to us and say, hey, I didn't know, and I'm sorry, but I can't take that. You know? Somebody attacked me on Facebook 2 nights ago. And I only stumbled upon it because I was scrolling through Facebook, and I scrolling on a thread. I think the page is called Your Voice. And they're talking about political options. And this guy is talking about that's why he supports Phillip and Alexander, the Progressive Empowerment Party. And a fella from the NTA named Insaf something or the other went to town on me. So I put up a post saying, well, if this is how you're going to play, I'm going to do a live video tonight. Gary, if this fella Insaf is speaking for you, I'm going to do a live video tonight. And I will, we will go toe-to-toe. Especially me and this fella Insaf. I have a platform too. And it panicked him. And it came back to me from multiple people who he reached out to ask them to ask me to give him a break. And I of course dropped it because I didn't know that he was a political neophyte. The way he was going at me and the things he was saying, I thought this was a well-seasoned politician who jumped in the guile. I said, this is one of Gary warriors, and he sent this one for me. So I was going to go with him. It's only when I found out after that he never experienced the heat that comes from people messaging him and telling him, brother, by 9:30 tonight, Phillip and them going to open me up. And he panicked. And I want to say, and I understood that, and when I realized that he wasn't politically experienced, of course I pulled it in, we never did the video, but I sent him a message and I said, listen, don't hit people who could hit back if you can't take a hit. If you're walking in the jungle and you see a lion, the lion not taking you on, don't go and provoke the lion. Because the lion have claws, the lion have teeth. And if you don't want that, don't go for that. And I'm saying that because plenty people on our side who are not seasoned also need to take guidance from that. That you don't get to be, you would know, David, you, as young as you are, you seasoned like a battle axe. And you outside there a long time. Satish, well, I mean, Started taking talks and this that. And you all know what it feels like, because people will lie and they will say things and you will sit down and read. I will never forget it. The first time there was a fella, a CPEP contractor who going to be the social media voice for the PNM. I remember when I had now come out in politics, that man put out a list of things. He published a list of things that I was supposed to have done. And brother, I ain't gonna lie, the first time I experienced that much hate and that much dishonesty in one page, and all I'm thinking about is, what my mother gonna think when she see this? What my father gonna think? What my son gonna think? What my friends gonna think? People are gonna now take sides based on politics, and it's not gonna have to do with reality. And you have to get to a place where you could take those hits and still wake up tomorrow and do this. And it's not that I don't think, because we've told them, we had plenty seminars with the team, individual and collectively, and we told them, that this is not for the faint-hearted. Politics in Trinidad is war.
Oh, it is.
And if you, like we, are making a difference, look at Rohan Sinanan. Rohan Sinanan ordered his people to take an excavator and crush our barrels, because we found out that the barrels we put in Gandhi village to protect citizens, that they stole, that they painted white and put Ministry of Works and Transport on it. When we found out and we highlighted that, the man threw a tantrum and they crushed it with the excavator. And when they crush it with the excavator, they take off more of the white paint and you see all the orange paint, and people realizing that they are our barrels. And our lawyers are suing the Ministry of Works now. We want our barrels back. Yeah. So this is not a kids party, as I say. I'm speaking to two seasoned battleaxes here. But the new guys, they're going to have to face it if they are making any inroads at all. And what we were trying to do is transition people, but some of them don't need transitioning. Ravi don't need transition. John Solomon don't need transitioning. These fellas ready to jump in. So who could, and who can't, we will protect them. And the Phillip will fix it. Is God, honestly, I have a strong commitment to getting as much things done as quickly as possible, so they could see that this illusion that if you're not in government, you can't get things done. I wanted to rubbish that whole illusion that your former colleagues put in the public space, that if you're in opposition or you're not in government, you can't do nothing. We've done a lot, brother. We've done a lot. And that Phillip will fix it campaign, it could grow from here to every other member who willing to stand up and take credit for what they're doing and take their own hits, jump in.
I'm trying my best to stay neutral, because I should take off this shirt tonight. But can you officially say today, for the viewers, for those that still saying that it's a one-man show, can you say today that it is not a one-man show, Phillip?
Jericho Project, Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago, Victoria Foods Grab and Go, Pep Farms, business affiliates, accountant of 5. You see my hand? Trying to get my hand in front of the screen. Right. That's 5 things that I could think of the top of my head. If they say that this is a one-man show, I am Superman. Vote me into office.
All right. Well, harder questions then, because
I know, but you understand what I'm trying to say?
I see what you're saying, but it's not for me to get by in, it's for the viewers to get by in. Many people say it's a one man.
Let me tell the viewers this. Felicia Holder and her team, Sahai Silva, Anastasia, Dwayne, and the rest of the crew, they are responsible for something in the Citizens Union called the Business Affiliates Program, which is separate and apart from the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago. And it provides an add-on and a further benefit for membership. And they have over 300 members of the business affiliates and growing daily. In a year, dealing with them one by one, bringing them on board, negotiating with them benefits for Citizens Union members, and and bringing them on board and making them full members. That is a job. If you ask me how much members the Progressive Empowerment Party have right now, I can't know. Raina Charan could know. David Welch could know. I know you do a lot of work in membership. Satish Ramsaran could know, but I don't. If you ask me what's going on in Victoria Foods, Grammar, no, I don't know. Sean Sunarayan would know. His assistant Pat and their team, they would know. I could sit down in a meeting, I could offer some advice, but the day-to-day, that's not me. The organization of the party. As find out through Indira what Satish have planned for me today, tomorrow, the day after, what's going on, where the meetings are, that kind of stuff. We have a guy named Lachman Ramrup. You know Lachman. Lachman's job is he takes responsibility for making the place ready. We come into a meeting, Akil camps. I mean, we have a war horse like Akil
I'll
camps.
change your name to Super Minister. I've seen that in the thread right now. They want to call you Super Minister. But I like that you went down that road and you said that you don't know. Because let me tell you something. You know of someone that was at Rum Shop Talk at the start. All right? The first Rum Shop Talk that we ever had, a certain individual was there that now joined the NTA. That said the reason why he joined the NTA is because he looking at you as the political leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party, but he not seeing a political leader, he's seen an activist. What do you say to persons that see an activist over a political leader?
Even if you vote me into office as the Prime Minister, I'll be an activist. I'll be an activist for all the days that I have the opportunity to make this country better for all the people. That is what I merely call you and Satish 5 minutes before the show and tell you all I'm tired, I can't make tonight. Today has been a long day. Satish could tell you how long today was. And I almost call. I have family issues to deal with. I have to put aside personal business, personal family, and do this show. I almost called and said, you know, I can't do this tonight, but it is because of all the people. And I know that you don't get haters if you're not a threat to something that is beneficial to somebody. You don't get haters. If you're irrelevant, people don't take you on. People don't talk about David Abdullah. They don't really talk about Michaela Pandey. They don't talk about any of the people who are irrelevant to the politics. Gary Abal relevance right now because Gary Abal name, but they know the NTA stalled. And they can't take the NTA anyway. So when Gary Griffith went on Power 102 this morning with Wendell and Steve Kahn and Paul Richards, and I watched that interview, 99% of that interview was Gary Griffith, meritless, Rowley, National Security Police Commissioner. Gary is still auditioning for the job of Police Commissioner, and NTA is a platform that gives him a little viewership. But if you are not concerned with the day-to-day life of people, we deal, you, me, all of us in this party, we deal with the day-to-day life. Ian Griffith is one of the founders of the Progressive Empowerment Party. You know what Ian Griffith took for himself as a role? Ian Griffith took for himself as a role to be responsible for all the people who calling into the Citizens Union with all their problems to make sure they could solve those problems. We have videos outside of all of that people reach out to us and tell us they're having a problem. Wildflower Park. I was with Bella in Victoria Foods Grab and Go on a Saturday. And I went to get 2 bowls of soup to go home. And I got a call from an elderly gentleman who supports us. And he called me in angry tears. You know when somebody crying because they're vexed?
Yeah.
He's an elderly gentleman. He's telling me, brother, if I was younger, I'd have decked that fella and put him on his back for disrespecting me in front of my wife. And that's what I saying it, and I want to crack up. Because the man was so hurt. He was so livid. He and his wife was walking through a park that he has walked through his entire 80-something years of life. He played there as a child. He and his wife was strolling through this park, and a security guard from Nigeria or Rhodesia or some country that working with Abood intercept the man and tell him he can't be inside this park, get out. And the man just bow his head and take his wife and pull his wife's hand. When I went to that park, if you hear that video, and that video went viral umpteen times, I got out. That is the first time in my life I got out of my car with a live video running. I went there for confrontation. That is an activist. They are paving a road right now. Satish could tell you in Princestown that people say they've never paved for years. Half the road disappear and fall down a ravine. And they put in the road slow now on both sides to let you know you're coming to a piece of the road that's missing half the road. And we were driving past there to go to somewhere else. And I stopped and I got out and I did a video. You could tell the videos where I am an activist. You could tell the videos where I'm living. I don't have business in Princestown. You gotta call me down Princestown for me to be in Princestown. But I know what it is like to be a human being that have to put up with this day in, day out and pay your taxes. It's like the people who pay water bills to Wassa and not getting water. That is a criminal act. Not one lawyer in the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago has brought a class action lawsuit against Wassa for the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars that Wassa is collecting and not providing water. These are things the people want an activist prime minister. The people want an activist opposition leader. The people want their members of parliament to be activists. They want to know when they call you and they tell you, like the old lady in PT Valley who Wassa leave a pipe running in her and throw down her wall and undermine her foundation. And we put them on blast. She messaging me today, gushing, I can't tell these people's names, call these people's names. She said, Mr. Alexander, thank you. It's an elderly woman. She had nobody to turn to. Who would I ever tell her? You know, it's hurt me to tell people, call your MP, call the social development ministry. When people call me to tell me this one fall out with that one and all their belongings in the road. They have things that you just can't touch. As a human being, I don't understand how these politicians who are drawing big salaries go to bed at night. I don't understand how Keith Rowley goes and plays golf. When I see Faris Al-Rawi in his leggings and his vest, I just wonder how he gets time to spend so much time in the gym. I wish I could get time to spend in the gym. From the time I wake up in the morning, it is pep and public till I go to bed at night. This day has been running since 6 o'clock this morning. And I already know that I have to be up tomorrow from 6 o'clock for a radio interview in the morning. And I don't need none of this in my life. Unlike Keith Rowley, this wasn't going to be the sum total of where I was going to rise to. I didn't need this. I didn't need blue lights to make me feel like somebody. I was already somebody. I was already Phillip Edward Alexander. What I did was I took Phillip Edward Alexander and put it to work for the people. This is not for me. But if my children, if I am going to grow old and die, like my dad just passed away and we just buried him, if I am going to leave Joshua and Isabella in this country, then it has to be functional, or I can't in good conscience say that I am a good father if I live in my life whining on people bumpsy down in Arpita Avenue, drinking and having a good time, and not thinking of the tomorrow that I am leaving my children to inherit. I wouldn't consider myself a good father. I want to tell you something to anybody, and I told Gary Griffith this. Gary Griffith told me, he said, Philip, you are not a politician, you are an activist. I said, Gary, that is the greatest compliment you could tell, because politicians in this country are shit snakes. Most of them are bandits, the rest are failures. They don't have enough strong activists in Trinidad and Tobago, and that's what we need on the ground.
Now, given that, and we're going to the phone lines, but coming up Trinidad and Tobago once again, this Saturday, the PEP is holding its public meeting at Bamboo Number 1 opposite Grand Bazaar. The event starts at 5, doors open at 12 noon, so you could come on, meet the political leader, Phillip Edward Alexander, but not just meet with him on that day, because right now we're opening up the phone lines to receive your calls and opinions. Keep it short, just ask your question and move on, all right? So ask your questions to the political leader, Phillip Edward Alexander, and then
I want to ask you to not screen. I want to ask you to not screen any calls.
We won't screen, so we're not gonna screen.
I want you to let even the obvious bullshit calls through. Okay, I can handle myself.
So no screening. So number 7192888, call 7192888 and ask your questions directly to the political leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party, Phillip Edward Alexander.
Are they WhatsApping through?
They can WhatsApp call, yes. They can WhatsApp call 7192888, 7192888, all right? So that's the number to call right now to be a part of the program, to ask your questions to the political leader, Phillip Edward Alexander. I'll take my phone off Do Not Disturb so people could call and I will hear it ringing loud.
I have my phone in my hand, 682-2110. When I said WhatsApp, I don't mean a WhatsApp call. I mean somebody could type up a WhatsApp. Some people like to ask a question, but they don't want to be on air themselves.
No problem. If you want to
So,
ask the questions, you could ask it directly to you, Phillip, 682-2110.
it can go through you. It can go through you if you want. I don't mind.
7192888, 7192888. You could send a WhatsApp asking questions, or you can call directly. You could call on WhatsApp as well, 7192888, and ask your questions to the political leader. It doesn't matter if you're a PNM, you could ask the questions. If you're a UNC, you could ask the questions. Now, Phillip, a lot of persons are asking one very important question to the Progressive Empowerment Party. What happens when the election comes around? Because a lot of persons think that in order for we to for Trinidad and Tobago on a whole to defeat the PNM, there needs to be a coalition. Is that something on the horizon for the Progressive Empowerment Party?
Our problem is not the other politicians, as failed as they may be. Our problem is the 1% contract mafia. Our problem is the people who pull the strings of those politicians. Our problem is finding yourself in government in a coalition and wanting to go after obvious criminals who have looted the treasury and taken advantage of public office in this country, and then finding out from our coalition partners, well, you really can't go after that one because that one is one of our financiers or that one. If we want to fix Trinidad and Tobago, we have to fix Trinidad and Tobago on a clean slate. We want to reboot this republic. We want to start it over. We want to go back to September 1st, 1962 and look at everything that went wrong and redirect it from there. Water in your taps and flooding. We've linked the two. We say that if you allow us our water policy, it will end flooding and put water in your taps 24/7. You can take your tank and the pump and throw it in the sea. Our public health, our policy, our public health policy, our education policy, our national security policies, all of them dovetail together. In fact, they make a super ministry where the persons, the development of our people are concerned. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to vote yourself a proper country, you are not going to get that picking among people who were there for the fight, the feeding frenzy, the bacchanal, and all the crime. How would that work?
Phone lines once again, 7192888. I want to encourage persons to pick up the phone and call the political leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party, Phillip Edward Alexander, and ask him all the questions that you want to ask. Anything that is on your mind, the leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party is answering from now until Saturday.
I just got a message. I'm gonna forward it to you so that you can read it and I will answer, right?
Not a problem.
I'm gonna forward it to you to one of your million phones, yeah? I didn't know which. You
I see which one I got it on there. I think I got it. All right.
Somebody said, tell me about the parking situation on Saturday. It's literally gonna be first come, first served, but there's a lot of space to park. And we will have security there guiding and directing you.
So someone saying here, you stated some time ago that you, oh gosh, you are capitalist to the bone. That worried me as a communist that knows the evil of capitalism. How do you answer that? Are you a capitalistic leader, Phillip Alexander?
Capitalism by itself is not wrong. Capitalism without compassion is a prescription for confusion. They've edited capitalism, they've added some compassion, and they call it social capitalism. It works in the Slavic and Nordic states, it's working in Switzerland, Sweden, it's working in Europe. And as long as the Europeans don't put out their thoughts and go to war again, the world will be safe for a while. But you have to allow people the ability to make money, but it mustn't be destructive to the economy. And that's where it goes wrong, when something is destructive to the economy. So you must have laws and caps and things in place where, let me give you an example, right? You would never allow anybody to buy up all the water in the country. You'd never allow them to buy up all the water rights because it will put people at risk. You'd never allow somebody to buy up all the food, or you shouldn't, even though that's what's kind of going on in the country. Yet we have people laundering drug and corruption money into the housing market, driving the price of real estate up and putting it. So the Progressive Empowerment Party would use a property tax an escalating property tax to discourage the hoarding of corruption and drug money in the real estate market, because it is artificially driving, inflating the prices of properties and real estate and making it difficult for people to own. So we say that our policy is that your primary residence should attract 0% property tax, but every property that you own after that. Now, you can also register as a developer, and I want people to know, I say this cutting my own throat. I am a developer, but you can register as a developer, or you can register as a property owner, landlord, so that there would be systems in place to make sure that people are able to afford to live. If you don't do that, if you don't attach public sector wages to the cost of living to negate inflation, you will forever be marching and burning tires. If the people in the public sector knew that with each step of inflation, it pulls their salaries along through whatever mechanism you want to use, a cost of living allowance used to work for something like that. You could use other measures for these big salary negotiations, whatever. But you have to make sure, because I asked today, I said yesterday I went to the grocery. I came home with about 10 grocery bags, and the bill was over $2,000. And I don't know how people live in.
Yeah.
It is insane. Yeah.
Well, given that, I feel.
Satish,
yes, Satish.
You just mentioned people burning tires. What do you think about that? People burning tires and protesting all over the country.
I'm gonna join them, but go ahead now. Go ahead.
You could see that the government is vacillating between, if it's not in a place where it's bothering them, burn all the tire ones, and if it's in a place where it's causing traffic, they're sending the police to strong arm you. I think that we are beyond that as a solution. The knee-jerk reaction, people are burning tires for roads that mash up 4 and 5 years, but you still voted the same way you voted before. It's time to change. It's time to try something new. On November the 19th, the Progressive Empowerment Party says, come and hear what we have to offer. Come and hear what we say is your options, and weigh those options, because you know what you've been getting with the PNM and the UNC for the past 60 years, and it's not working. Nothing in the country is working. All of the people, I mean, I have some people who were formerly haters of mine who tell you, you know what, I don't like that man, you know, but he sound like he know what he doing, and he sound like he's surrounded by good people, and he sound like he have a heart for the country, so I could continue hating him, but I don't mind him being the prime minister, because I feel he'll fix the country.
So I should take a back seat then.
Not at all.
My problem with burning tires is it affects the man on the ground, the man, the woman on the ground, and it doesn't affect the people who actually have to make the decisions, who have the power to make the decisions. They don't care. If you burn tires in Claxton Bay, if you burn tires in Labray, the people in Port of Spain who make the decisions in the country, they don't care. So
I agree with you. Everybody should bring all their tires. They should have a tire there. Don't burn it. Just bring all the tires to the Red House.
So given that, Philip, given that, there are ex-Caroni workers, and this coming in as a direct question here. There are ex-Caroni workers that can't get land. How do they go about getting that? What would we do if we come into office? What would you do? What can you do for these ex-Caroni workers?
We're united.
You know what? Let's hold that. Let's hold that. Let's take this call. All right.
Ex-Caroni workers.
Hi, good night. You're live. Hi, good night.
Hello, good night. Good night. Yes.
Good night, sir. Go ahead and ask the question.
Yes. So I'm glad about this topic that you're on tonight. I want to find out more about the policy where it comes to home ownership, because that is key for individuals in this country at this point.
Home ownership. Listen, officer. Home ownership, Philip. You want to find out more about home ownership and the party's policy.
We will deal with that in depth, but could we come back to the ex-county workers first and then come back to home
We
ownership?
can, no problem.
We marched with the ex-county workers. They invited us to come along. Rebecca Thomas invited us to come along. And what I understand is there are multiples of groups of ex-county workers. The first step is you have to unite all of them. There are court decisions that are supposed to affect the distribution of land. The government is in contempt of court. Different groups are taking different actions. Right now, there are county workers who can't get the piece of land that they're holding the paper for, but squatters have been squatting on that piece of land who now have title to it. There is an insanity taking place, and a progressive empowerment party government would bring all of the county workers and all of their documents in for a meeting. Those who have not been given land yet, we have 90,000 acres of fertile farmland in this country, not counting those that have been stolen to grow malls. And if you want the land under a mall, and I think that you deserve it, we'll bring out the bulldozer and throw down the mall. Our ex-county workers built this country, paved our highways. People don't know that. Long before there was oil and gas booms, there was sugar. Sugar from Trinidad and Tobago. The Allied effort that defeated Nazism in Europe, the Allied effort relied on Trinidad sugar. That's why we had a base in Wallafield and a base in Chagaramas. Trinidad sugar workers have been they have laid foundation stones in this country, and they should have been respected and treated a lot better. A progressive empowerment party government would also revitalize County Limited, open it back, get into organic food farming, because Satish could tell you, we in farming now. We've launched pep farms, phase 1. Hydroponics is already up and running. And phase 2, we're clearing ground for that. So we believe, we are strong believers in food production and agro policies, because a nation's national security is hinged on its ability to feed itself. The county workers are integral to that. The county farmers, the ex-county farmers, their children who ended up finding alternate ways of living because farming was destroyed by government. Government declared war on food production in this country. That is the insanity of Trinidad and Tobago. So that Hadco and Amco and Massey and the rest of them could make billions of dollars. We have 90,000 acres of farmland in this country. We have 30,000 registered farmers. And the Progressive Empowerment Party promises in quick time to put farmers together with land and get food growing in this country so that we could be a food self-sufficient in 5 years and a net food exporter in 10.
What's the plan then? What's the plan then for the reopening of the sugar industry? Because you just mentioned what's the timeline?
That you will have, listen, I don't even know what's in there. So we have to bring the professionals in with us. But I want to tell you something. Organic sugar is a massive industry. If we put all of our county lands back to growing organic sugarcane, we would make 10 times what we were making before. But it's not just sugar. If you open back County Limited, you could open back County Limited as a marketing company. And that marketing company would be responsible for pairing farmers with lands. And you would tell this farmer, based on our net food consumption, there's a central statistical office in this country. And I'm assuming that they're tracking consumption data. And that you would know how much pimento pepper we need, how much baigan we need, how much melangen, how much bodi, how much of anything. What do we consume as a nation? So you don't have all the farmers growing tomatoes, because when all the farmers growing tomatoes and all the tomato crops come in at the same time, you end up with a glut and everybody lose money. So you know that we consume 50,000 tons of tomatoes a year. We're spreading that out over the year and we're growing tomatoes. So if you come and you want to grow something, these are the things that we're looking for farmers for. We want to grow long-term, medium-term, short-term crops. We want to dedicate some of the land in this country. And I still think Chagaramas is the place to go. To grow mango, guava, soursop, breadfruit. These are food crops that you don't have to mind. If you plant 200,000 breadfruit tree in this country, you will never have to buy rice and flour again. One breadfruit tree feeds a family of 4 for 75 years. Trinidad will never run out of food.
All right.
The housing policy.
Housing, I'm going to mention that. Housing policy.
Zero deposit, zero interest for first-time homeowners up to $1.5 million for 30 years. We've done the arithmetic. It'll cost less money than funding HDC $5 billion and national security $9 billion. National security gets $9 billion to chase after people who didn't get the benefits of a proper development in life. Home ownership, the numbers all over the world showed. Countries that have high home ownership, crime is down, drug use is down, homelessness is down. We have to pay attention to those numbers. If you accept that a nation is a collection of communities, and that if you fix the communities, you fix the nation, then you have to also accept a community is a collection of families. So if you fix the family, you fix the nation. You wouldn't have to go chasing after people trying to lock them up who fighting in KFC, who fighting in Movie Town, who fighting in Trinity Mall, because those people would have fully functional parents and you should have been home by a certain time today because you had football or you had ballet or you had art or you just had to come home. But right now we have our people running wild. All of our people, our children, belong nowhere. We live in like nomadic tribes. I feel for them and I want to fix that. The fastest way to fix that is to end the corruption of HDC. HDC in Trinidad and Tobago is not there to put people in houses, HDC is to allow PNM and UNC financiers to thief money. That's its first job. The price is, if you audit HDC, you would jail former prime ministers. Trust me on that.
Another question coming in, Philip. How would you treat with prison reform and recidivism? So the criminals coming out and just going back in the system, repeating offenses. How would you deal with that?
Because our jail, our penal system is just about punish. They say hold and treat. They're doing a good job at hold, but it looks like it's a hold and beat. We need to turn our penal system into an education system. You know how I ended up working with Gary Griffith? In the UNC, when I went to meet with Gary Griffith, myself and others in the Jericho project, we had come up with a plan called Literacy First. And we went to the Ministry of National Security because we had gotten the numbers that the vast majority of first-time offenders in this country end up as first-time offenders because they are functionally literate and they can't read. And that if you taught people how to read, you would change their world for them. So all of the people who get a first charge, the judge and the magistrate should have the ability to ask you, are you literate? Can you read? And if you can't, instead of putting you in the jail, give you a chance to go and do a 12-week course. Because you could do a 12-week course as an adult and learn how to read. And understand this, this is critical to the mission here. When you teach people to read who cannot read, you open the whole world to them. Those who are in jail on convicted time that they serve in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, once it is not blood crimes, murder, and you can even give the education available to them. But for the others who are going to get let out in 10 years and 15 years, you could cut their sentences in half. You could cut their sentences in half if they get a degree, a first degree, a master's degree, a doctorate. A man who committed a heinous crime with no hope, who is now a master of some field or a doctor of some field, he is a different human being. Sending him back into his community is not a revolving door of prison. You just sent a positive beacon of hope and somebody who has a vested interest in changing lives of people on the ground because they have knowledge of how it was and what it takes to get there.
There are lots of comments coming in. I can't even keep up right now.
But I want to say one more thing to that whole thing with the jails because Trinidadians need to understand we have more of our people behind bars than almost anybody in the world. People who are convicted of nothing. And we have a DPP, a Chief Justice, and a President and a Commissioner of Police, all who have the power to let those people go. People who are in jail longer than they could have been if they were convicted and sentenced to the maximum. They spent more time in jail. Let them go. That is a human rights atrocity. And a Progressive Empowerment Party government will clear those jail cells of those people who, just tell people who are calling my phone to try to get onto the show that they can't call my phone because it's not connected to the audio. Those people, you are turning mistake makers, people who had no choices, who take a chance, who thief a corned beef on a street train because he's hungry, and you put him in a cell with hardened criminals and you leave him there for 5 years. What did you create? We spend more money transporting and housing prisoners in remand yard than all of those prisoners in remand yard have stolen together. And if you understand that we are spending billions chasing millions, that is stupidity. So we need to find another way to intervene in these people's lives. Gone are the days where you have to send a big bad man to throw you on the ground and beat you on your back and lock you in a cage. That helps nobody. At some point, they have to either kill you or let you go. We create monsters in this country. There was a man, I can't remember his name right now, I think it's Mano Benjamin, who they put him in jail for so long. When he come outside, he was a monster. And they knew him as that, and it created a saying in the country, but it escapes me now. Our penal system needs to be, but our justice system. I want to tell you this, it's tied to this, and all our policies are tied to this, to each other. Our justice system is basically this. If you think that you have grounds to arrest somebody, you have 24 hours to hold them and charge them, or you have to release them. No habeas corpus, it's automatic. You have 24 hours to hold. If you cannot charge, you have to release them. If you charge, you have 6 months to begin a prosecution. No more 5 years and 10 years when people have case hanging over their head, not like the sword of Damocles, not knowing when the matter going on court. You have 6 months to begin the prosecution. And if the prosecution does not begin in 6 months, you have to release. And once the prosecution starts, you have 1 year. You, the judge or the magistrate, you have 1 year to treat with this case. And you either convict again. Cases shouldn't go on in this country 17 years, 19 years, 25 years for the Stevens and Johnsons break-in. I mean, that was ridiculous. The amount of money we spent just holding that case on the court's dockets made a mockery of what that man was charged for. We have to fix it from the top down, from the police service. We need body cams on our police officers. Any police officer who does not want to wear a body cam, transfer him to MTS security. We need dashboard cams in our police vehicles. We need GPS tracking. Every time you turn on your siren, we must know and peg it to some emergency call that you're on. If you turn on that siren to get past traffic because you're going for doubles or to pick up your child in school, that's automatic suspension. Gone must be the days where citizens have to pull aside in traffic to let you through because you have a state-sponsored siren. We need to fix everything from the top down. We need internal affairs in the police service, manned by former FBI and New York City Police Department internal affairs officers. And they must be on rotation contract for 6 months so they can't get to know nobody and can't get corrupted, because in this country, we can corrupt salt. But their job must be to take out of our system all of the criminal police, those who wear khaki and those who wear short pants, get them out so that the rest of the good and decent police officers could secure this country.
A lot of questions coming in there, and I agree fully 100% on that, given that I was tackled by the Red House. But anyway, so someone is asking here, when the PEP forms the next government, can reform be done within constituencies to do away with the regional cooperation and give finances directly to the MPs? And this is actually a comment already, but I know the answer to it already.
No, but I say this person is a pepper. They have to know. They have to, Satish, they have to know. They read our policies. Because we want to abolish local government. We want to abolish it. We want to abolish the regional health authorities. We want to abolish the police system, how this police service is set up right now, and replace it with 41 constituency boards of supervisors. Each constituency autonomous, like a mini state in Trinidad. A supervisor for public works, public utilities, national security, education, and healthcare, led by the member of parliament who is an elected official. And during budget time, every constituency would be allocated funds based on their requests. So all of those supervisors together with the MP will write the Minister of Finance and say, Diego Martin West would like to get $1 billion. And these are the projects we want to do with $1 billion in the next 12 months. And those will include healthcare projects and public works projects and water projects, roads, bridges, sidewalks, lights, any of those issues that affect people, parks, all of the issues that affect your daily life, what local government should have been taking care of now, drainage, all of that. And if you if you put up when that gets to the Minister of Finance, so the Minister of Finance now has 41 constituencies sent in their request. Let's assume everybody asks for $1 billion, and that's 41 billion. Let's say we have 40 billion to spend and 10 billion going to recurrent expenditure. We only have 30 billion to allocate to the constituencies. We have to send back all of those requests and say, I want you to put a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3 next to the projects that you want to do in order of importance. Because we are going to have to run through everybody's lists and give a budget allocation that comes out of that 30 billion, and that next year, whatever you didn't get, like number 3 is most probably wouldn't get funded. But next year, your number 3 is most likely will become your number 1s. And by then, we may have more money to be able to take care of all those things. But when the budget is being read, it shouldn't be 2 and 3 hours and one stunting jackass like Colm Imbert. It should be that a proper Minister of Finance saying, at this stage, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, we are going to talk about the allocations for constituencies. And from that moment, the Minister of Finance sits down. And in alphabetical order, each member of Parliament gets to stand up and speak for half an hour, talking about the allocations they got, if they think it's not enough, if they think it's enough, and what they're going to do with that money, and sit down, one after the other. That should take about 5 days in my estimation. But you, in your constituency, you have 2 things that you'd be concerned about. What's happening on a national level with the national issues, but what's happening on a constituency level? What's happening to your roads and your drains when it's flooding and your water? What's happening to the street lights in your communities and who cutting the grass in the parks so the children could play football in the evening? What's happening to the school, who roof leaking and rain falling? All of those issues, security, we need a police post down by the corner where the fellas smoking weed. All of those issues would be addressed within the constituency. You as a constituent would have a copy of you would have access to the budget, and you would be able to go to your member of Parliament and say, listen, 6 months in, 5th Street supposed to get rehabilitated. I live on 5th Street. There's a budget allocation, and this is going to take 3 months. So you better start. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? You make it possible for the citizens to get fully action involved. Because if you know it's a 3-month project and you have 6 months left in the budget year, if they don't spend that money to rehabilitate your street, you will lose out on this bid round, and it'll have to happen next year. So you will go and lobby to make sure that the money was allocated. And if you're not getting it, you can go to central government and complain about your member of Parliament. There must be redress. There must be oversight. When a road is paved, a surveyor from the Ministry of Works must sign off on core samples that they checked, that the proper foundations were done on the roads. When you see these roads that collapsing all over the country, what I tell Trinidadians, what you're seeing is dirt and pitch. You're not seeing no structure below the pitch to make an actual road. A road is plenty more than a ribbon of tar on top of dirt. And you need road engineers working who can sign off and say, this road was properly done. Because if it wasn't, rip it up and do it over at your expense.
Call it good night. Hello?
Yes.
Good night, sir. Go ahead.
All right, my question is, would Phillip commit to closing the Port of Spain prison, which is a literal dungeon in the middle of Trinidad in 2022? Would he commit to closing that institution and erect a proper place in place of that?
I absolutely agree with you, Paulo.
Go ahead, Phillip. He's listening online. Go ahead.
We should never have a prison in town. When that prison was built, there was only one street, Frederick Street. So the rest of it, all around Frederick Street, was cane fields. That's what Woodbrook was. Woodbrook was a sugar estate. Everything in Maraval, the Bossier Country Club was the house of an estate. They had nothing else in the country, so the prison was in the bush. But it's not bush anymore, it's now city. So that prison needs to be moved from there, absolutely. And yes, it should not, we should never have continued using a prison that was built as punishment for slaves. That's what it was. So it is a dungeon in the heart of Port of Spain, and it goes to the heart of the matter that we don't like ourselves enough to face those hard issues and treat with them. Left to me, I would demolish it and create a peace park where it stands. I know some people are going to tell you that it is now a historical site. Yeah, but if you could turn it into a museum and make money, maybe. But it should be closed.
From the streets literally into the parliament, someone is asking here whether or not or how would the selection of a house speaker, what would the process be under the Progressive Empowerment Party, and how would you find a neutral and unbiased person?
That is going to have to be put right back on the citizens, and the citizens have to get a lot more responsible with their democracy and a lot more involved. But a lot of the ways that we do politics in Trinidad and Tobago has to change. And one of those things that has to change is something called proportional representation. Every single group of people in this country, regardless of how small, deserve a voice in the parliament. That's what the parliament is for. You are not supposed to be a conditional subject of the state. You have to have a voice in the parliament, and we would strongly pursue a parliament built around proportional representation. I also want to say this. Timothy Hammersmith made this suggestion to me when I was talking to him about some of my ideas. I said, I never thought of this, but it's correct. Our constituencies now represent 30 to 35,000 people each. And he said to me, we need more constituencies. We need 100 constituencies in the parliament. You know, 100 speakers. You know, 100 people represented, but reducing the amount of people that is represented by this person gives everybody a chance and representation. You don't get lost. A teacher teaching 50 children can't give the attention just like a teacher teaching 5. You know, and these things have to be addressed. We have to sit down like a nation. We accepted that Eric Williams and Tajmol Hossain and Ellis Clark and the rest of them went to Marlborough House, and when 1 from 10 equal North and the Federation of States that went to become, we were going to be a United States of the Caribbean, and when that fell apart and the Queen said, no, you have to leave. And they went and they edited what was the Federation Constitution and made it a Trinidad Constitution. Even the national anthem we stole, that side by side we stand, islands of the Blue Caribbean Sea, wasn't meant to be for 2 islands, Trinidad and Tobago. It was meant to be for the 10 islands of the Federation of Caribbean States. But all that said, Trinidad and Tobago can be properly fixed in a way. We've learned, we've had enough experience to learn where the pitfalls and the potholes are, and we need to put oversight in place for where it still is. I've watched Brazil rebuild the entire capital. I watched South Africa redo a constitution. I watched India change the way the democracy works for the largest democracy on the planet. We could do the same in Trinidad and Tobago for our 1.4 million people. We could make sure that every citizen get up in the morning knowing that as a citizen under that red, white, and black flag, they have rights under a constitution that cannot be suborned by anybody else.
Given the questions that come in here, a lot of Trinidadians have some very simple issues that can be fixed without the intervention of the PEP. But someone is asking your views on the ex-employees of Petrotrin because they had a lifetime medical plan which was negotiated and signed and agreed upon by the state and the OWTU. And also in the industrial court. However, with the collapse of the company, this was discontinued, and they're asking for your opinion on that. But before we go to that, we have a call. Hi, good night, caller.
Hello, good night. I want to find out what is PEP policy as it pertains to the value of our dollar?
What is the PEP policy as it pertains to the value of $1?
Stick up in there. We come back to that. The Petrotrin health plan. Any document that's signed as an agreement must stand, so that what has to happen is the state must offer them a buyout, or the state must fund the health plan as part of the purchase. Any court would order that. A proper court, would order that the state has to uphold all of the agreements that was this company. So what's for your account and what's for my account? We need to determine that. But if it was a contributing health plan, it was part of the remuneration of the employees, then you have to honor that. And if it is till death, then brother, if the last employee you fire is 20 years old, you're following him to the grave. With regards to $1, Trinidad's dollar makes no sense at all. We need a valuation of our dollar based on proper data. I want to tell you something, you're not spilling too much beans, but a lot of our problems have to do with a massive narcotics trade that passes through Trinidad and Tobago. The narcotics dealers in Colombia and Mexico don't take Trinidad and Tobago dollars. So our narco dealers using state contracts to access US dollars to pay for drugs. We have a dollar that is based on things that we don't even understand. Barbados have a 2-to-1 with America. We have 7-to-1, and 99% of our economy was export. That's where all our money came from, exporting oil and gas. We should be 1-to-1 with America. So I don't understand. There are some people who benefit from the value of our dollar, chubby SM jelly landing. If you revalue our dollar and lower it, people will end up with a stronger quality of life in Trinidad and Tobago. And while they tell you that it is a sovereignty issue that Trinidad have its own dollar, I want to nullify and demystify that bullshit. 1.4 million people having its own currencies of no benefit to the people. We should be using the EC, and if we don't trust the EC currency, we should be trading in US or international currencies. Remove the nonsense of the banks putting a 13% charge on us exchanging our foreign exchange at 601 and selling it back to us at 677. That is a 13% tax on everything we consume in the country. If everything that we were buying and selling was in US dollars, we'd be a lot happier in Trinidad and Tobago.
So someone is asking you, do you think it is financially wise and possible to stabilize our economy and moving away from the dependency of oil and gas energy?
It was always wise, and you were always supposed to build your house on more than one pillar. So oil and gas could be a massive contributor to our economy, but it shouldn't be the only one. Today I saw numbers on the TV that says the National Gas Company made $168 million. And I asked myself, if they make $168 million, but all the banks making $1 billion, and we're not in natural gas, we're in banking. The banks is what making the money in Trinidad and Tobago, not natural gas. We have to look at these things. We have to determine who we are, what we want to be. There are a lot of industries that Trinidad tailor-made for. Food production, agro-processing, light industry. I want to say light industry. One of the things that the Progressive Empowerment Party would like to do is remove the Port of Spain dump and to clean up the site. And everything from what is NP House to Sour, create a massive commercial complex and invite companies from all over the world. Car companies, computer companies, appliance manufacturing companies. Any company that's willing to come here and hire our employees and train them. Once you're employee intensive, not automated, we will give you the site for free. We will give you natural gas for free. We will give you internet for free. We can even give you electricity for free for 10 years. As long as you're paying our workers on par with their counterparts anywhere else in the world, we will make it sexy and affordable for you to come to Trinidad and set up business. What you will do there, first of all, is suck the 30 to 40,000 unemployed people out of Morvan, Beta, Blavatel, Silots and give them hope. Give them real hope. You'll put money into that economy there, which will buoy and change the way life is done in Morvan, Beta, Blavatel, and Silots. You will train the people because those people who you have so many people there that sifting garbage that you could train. Sorry.
No, a caller just calling there. You could finish.
Yeah, you have so many people that sifting garbage that you could train to put on windscreens and to create car parts and computer screens and whatever. You could do so much, and then besides that, there's the whole marine industry. I saw a country posted. Look, I'm looking out of my balcony, and there are 4 cruise ships in the port. 4 cruise ships in the port is 6,000 people. If each of those people spent $1,000 that day, that's $6 million coming to the economy today. And it coming into the economy at the sugar cake and doubles and taxi level, it coming in at the sightseeing level, it coming in at paying people to do limbo in the street for them. That is that money, and that money is healthy money for the economy because it builds the economy. When you give your money to people who are wealthy, that money just going to the bank. If you give your money to people who need that money, who as they get their money, they're spending the money, that is an economy. And it will grow and it will do well. There are a lot of stuff that we could do. We have marine plans, marine industry. We want to build a marine university for the youths in Cocorite and Caranage who want to be in shipbuilding and ship repair. We have so many naturally talented people who have no access to anything like this. And if you give them that hope and opportunity, get out of their way.
Given all of that, the PP needs to be in office for all of this to happen. And even when given office, there's one main problem that we also have to deal with, and that's the EBC and the mapping out of seats. And one question coming in here before we take the call is what will the PP do to ensure that fairness is within that process of the mapping out of constituency sizes? But before you answer, hi, can I call her? Hi, good night, caller.
Hi, good evening, Philip. Good evening, Trinidad. Philip, when you
Good evening.
become the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, will you de-dollarize Trinidad and join the BRICS, since you just spoke about trading in our national currency?
I want to tell you that I want to be careful not to say only what is my opinion or even our opinion. At the end of the day, we need to get all the stakeholders together that makes up the national economy, and we don't just mean the rich. But I'm saying that to you with a clear understanding that we don't want to replace a dictatorship with another dictatorship. We want to involve the people in conversation. We want to give them options and choices as to what might work best for us. We might even look at a dual economy, find ways to diversify how we spend. Maybe we open up foreign exchange because in Trinidad and Tobago it's illegal for you to trade in foreign exchange. Maybe we just remove that illegality for a while and see what it does. Just that. Just making it possible for Trinidadians to receive and spend US normal, see where that goes.
Now, the question on the mapping of constituencies and the fairness in that if we are given office.
The reality that faces us is that we live in a corrupt society and we've had corrupt governments and they've corrupted office. And we've had to rely on God bless the lords of the Privy Council for saving us from ourselves. And some things have to be realigned and redone. But David, I want to tell you something, we're not going to fix Trinidad and Tobago going into the parliament to argue with Keith Rowley and Foster Cummins and Kamala Prasad. Trinidad needs to come out in their numbers and vote a government into office like a tsunami. Vote out all of the others so that you put somebody and some people in office with a mandate to go and fix everything, because the people who are benefiting from it don't want it fixed, Make no mistake. So the EBC and all of those things, redirecting, readdressing, inquiring what is taking place. Simple things like how you manage the elections, making sure that there's foreign observers, to make sure that Faris and them not stuffing ballots in the box. All of that has to be done. Small parties need to be given a level play field. The deposit, when you hear people say that you're going to lose your deposit, that is...
They wanted that to hear.
But that's what they don't understand is they quoted Massa. That was an obstacle put to prevent the small man from challenging the moneyed class. So it was an arbitrary number of money because the deposit serves no purpose in the elections. It's just an obstacle. So the Progressive Empowerment Party will remove the deposit. The Progressive Empowerment Party will put a cap on what every constituency can spend. So the PNM constituent candidate for Diego Martin West, Keith Rowley, would have a cap of $100,000 for his campaign. And if you spend $1 more than $100,000 and we could prove it, then we will nullify your campaign. Even if you won, you will be declared void. When you listen in the United States of America and you hear, my name is George Herbert Walker Bush and I utter and I approve this message. That is them saying that this message can be counted as part of a budget of what we are allowed. If it doesn't have that, and the television station or the radio station broadcast it, they could lose their license. Yeah? When Arnold Schwarzenegger was running for governor of California, all of the television and cable stations were told, they were sent a letter by the Federal Communication Commission saying that if you run any Arnold Schwarzenegger movie of any kind, you will have to give all of his opponents equal time. So if the movie was 1 hour and 24 minutes long, and I am his opponent, you have to give me 1 hour and 24 minutes on your TV, on your channel. And that's how seriously they take this thing. Equal time, proper politicking. We need to make sure that our democracy is not hijacked by dirty money. The Financial Intelligence Unit have to explain to this country all these millions that has been pelting out in cell phone and jersey and 500 in a jersey. Where is the Financial Intelligence Unit for that money? Where's that money coming from? Where is it accounted for in the election? All of this. Even at our electoral level to our highest court in the land, we engage in criminal wrongdoing. Satish, you're too silent. I'll pass the next question on to you.
Well, the thing is, I saying if we continue taking questions here, we go dead. We could never finish. I wanna encourage persons, firstly, again, that asking questions, that your questions are also going to be taken on the 19th of November down there at Bamboo Number 1, where you can talk to the political leader, again, Phillip Alexander, live in person.
Remind them the open mic. Remind them that all of our meetings have an open mic.
Yes, every last one.
Unlike the other political parties, our meetings all have an open mic. And I tell people, come and tell your problems to the world. Don't just come and ask me. Come and tell the world what you're going through. Yeah. Come and tell them what they're doing here for your water. Come and tell them what they're doing here for your roads. Come and tell the world.
Now, believe it or not, this program is so big tonight. We literally have 4 minutes left because we're going to 10:30. But this program is so big tonight, and we're receiving so many calls that this system crashed so long ago. But it's still up and running by God's grace. But we have another question here about accountability for funding. And they're asking what will be put in place, to talk about accountability for funding for various of projects in Trinidad and Tobago.
Politically or government projects?
Government projects, for sure.
The Progressive Empowerment Party plans to abolish the special purpose companies that were set up as an end run to the tenders process. We want a far more robust and transparent tenders process. All tenders above $1 million will be broadcast live on national television, the state television, so you can follow it if you have a vested interest in it. It will be available on social media, and you could go and check the archives and see it at any time. All contracts above $1 million will be published in the Gazette, and all of the beneficial shareholders and directors of any company that has awarded a contract, their names will be published as well, so that you will know. If you look and you see Sabga Senanan, you can say, but wait now, Sabga and Senanan, I got very lucky. Or
Satish, I think I'll just pass this question on to Satish now since he's so quiet. Satish, someone is asking here, what are your views, the PEP views on boot camps for juvenile delinquents in our schools?
That's a good question. What are your views on boot camps for juveniles?
Yes.
First of all, I don't like the word boot camps for juveniles. I mean, these people, these kids who they obviously got into the wrong side of the law. They need to be properly trained in. We have to take a look at what we need in our country in terms of having see what jobs we need in our country and actually start to train them in that field. I mean, country needs a lot of masons, carpenters. We don't need as many lawyers and doctors. When during COVID, we saw that it was the masons, the carpenters, the plumbers, the people. I mean, even in agriculture, these children who have gone astray. I think it's the role of the government to actually make sure that when they come out of that, I don't like the word boot camp, but they actually have jobs that be able to pay them. So there's the role of government to help to actually structure programs in place to actually send people there to train them and to help them get the jobs so they could live a beneficial life and have a productive life to Trinidad and Tobago.
It comes out of hope and opportunity. It'll always come out of that. If you give people something to look forward to, every single child that you meet, David, and I realize you have excellent people skills, Bella, think you're her best friend. Every child that you meet, every child. I wanted to say something yesterday on social media, and I don't know how to say it because everybody's so thin-skinned. I in the grocery and I'm unpacking the trolley. Bella's sitting in the seated part of the trolley. Now, this guy, you could tell that he has experienced life. He's missing some teeth, and he has tattoos on his face, on his neck. He's very dark, and he looks like he's had a rough go at it. And he stopped, and Bella was drinking a soft drink. And he said to her, "Enjoying yourself, having a soft drink, ma'am?" And he smiled at her, and he walked away. And Isabella said, "A gentleman just spoke to me." A gentleman. I saw the man through my eyes, and I understood what a lot of his physical attributes could mean. But to Isabella, he was a gentleman. He was a human being. And children, when you look at children and listen to children, you realize that's who we should be. I should have never seen him as anything else other than a gentleman, a potential gentleman. Regardless of what life hands you, you could come back to being that. That should be, I don't know, that should be our dream and our mission. You understand children, brother. You do. I see that. And anyway, I'm rambling and I apologize. But Satish was correct. Hope and opportunity. You give any child, you have a conversation with any child, what you want to be. And their eyes lit up. This woman, Adele, she just wrote a song, a very honest and introspective song called I Drink Wine. But she's talking about herself. And one of the lines in the song said, "When I was a child, every single thing could blow my mind." And that's where we need to go again. We need to get back to a place where people are free to dream again. Where people can come up with ideas for Amazons and WhatsApps and PayPals, and because our people are that talented, where our people could invent vehicles that run on fuel other than carbon fuel and other. I mean, we must open. Satish was telling you, technicians. We need more engineers, and I don't mean civil and basic automotive engineers. I mean, create opportunities where people could have access to science and they could experiment and express themselves. A lot of fields of endeavor get invented after the fact when somebody is massively successful. But what about the tinkerers who figure it out? Benz you hear names like Mercedes-Benz, Rolls-Royce, and you don't know Rolls-Royce was two men whose last name were Rolls and Royce. And Mercedes-Benz was formed by the merger of two competing companies. But those people were simple tinkering engineers who figured out how to get cars to work and work at their best and that kind of stuff. And we know so many people in this country. We've been on the road so long. We've heard people walk up to that open mic and talk. I'll never forget this gentleman in Sangre Grande. We were at this community center in Sangre Grande that was I swear it was a haunted house. Satish, remember that Sangre Grande? And this guy, he walked up to that mic, boy, and he spoke. I think we still have that footage. And you could tell how intelligent this man is. And he was never allowed an education or an opportunity to plant into that fertile soil that was his brain. And still, the critical thinking and logical deduction that was coming out of his mouth, and I was thinking, God, give me the opportunity to create evening classes for people 60 years old. Give me the opportunity to tell the retirees that if you're retired I will make every classroom in every school in this country available to a retiree who wants to impart his knowledge to the generations. You could imagine a lawyer that served 50 years, 40 years in the courts wanting to give classes to children in law school, that you could just go and listen to this person and benefit from his wisdom and his experience. And that could be anything. You could teach people how to do craft. I would give access to classrooms. When you look at the amount of real estate we have in school classrooms, after school, those classrooms should become homework supervision centers and opportunities for people to teach martial arts. If I take the cost of it away from you, then we're giving you the classroom for $1. You can use the classroom every afternoon to teach ballet. All of a sudden, people who can't afford the $1,000 that you have to pay to the ballet school in Cascade, you could now go to St. Joseph Convent or Mokorapo and have your child do ballet. Because there are a lot of people who want extracurricular. A lot of these children that we knock in, who fight in KFC in Movie Town, when the children of Westmoreland and Bayshore and Valsay go home, they have extracurricular activities. They have things that they get to go and do: horseback riding, football, cricket, ballet, martial arts, all music. You have to make that available to the at-risk communities too. Those children must have the same hope, the same opportunities, so that you're not creating frustrated, wild children that getting on like that. What are you leaving them as their choices?
We still have a lot of questions that coming in, but if we take them, we're going to 11 o'clock and then 12 o'clock.
It's up to Satish, I don't mind.
Satish,
We can go ahead.
take. So someone is asking here, how will you get our educational system back to, I don't know why he used the word back, but back to first class?
Up to the 80s, Trinidad had the highest standard of education in the Western Hemisphere. Trinidadians used to leave here in Form 1 and go to America and Canada and be placed in classes the equivalent of Form 3. Our policies are radical. We intend to abolish the SEA, make all schools 10-year schools, an annual exam for a grade point average, zone all schools so parents and children grow up in the community where their school is. Parents and children grow up with the administrators and the teachers. So a child that knows the same school, I want to tell you something here. The most destructive thing we do in this country is rip children out of the only environment they know outside of home at 11 years old and send them somewhere else. That scars people. SEA is the leading cause of mental illness in this country. We are a foolish nation for having continuously elected to office people who don't know and don't care. And it's time to fix all of those things. In Finland, children do not start school before the age of 7. At 7, psychologists believe that you could start to transition your development from home-centered to external. In Japan, the first 5 years of education have no schoolwork. It's all about learning how to be a proper citizen and how to fit in and how to develop your own self. We could learn from the world. Anthony Robbins says success leaves clues. There are ways to fix even our broken education system and leave nobody behind. And you see, all of the people, and I apologize to all of the people who fell through the cracks of our failed education system while we fighting to get in the government. And when we come into government, you're 25 years old, you have no passes, and you have nothing. We are going to bring in a massive adult education program after hours in all schools. And anybody who is engaging in adult education and furthering their education will get credits that could be exchanged for stipends. So that if you have to take time off of work to do this and they don't want to pay you, then we will have to make sure that you can afford to live while you better yourself. Because at the end of the day, the government has a vested interest in making sure that all of the people are on fire for their own development. When people are passionate about their own lives, they're not in the business of crime and disturbing and distressing nobody else. We need to get to there.
A stress reliever for most persons, playways, going to the bars and stuff like that. You know, there are persons asking here about the illegal playway and what type of system would you put in place to cope that or cap that.
Right. Well, playway was always illegal, and now we have. I mean, it was Weiwei, which was it came from a Chinese game, Weiwei. So we have the original Trinidad Weiwei, we have NLCV Playway, and now we have the imported Chinese black market Playway, all running at the same time. Gambling is as old as the hills, right? You need public service announcements, you need things in place, you need to tax anybody who is involved in any kind of gambling enterprise so that they can subsidize the cost of all of the fallout from gambling. But illegal activities have to be treated as illegal activities. If there is a way for something to be legal and you choose to be illegal, then you gotta feel the full brunt of the law.
Cool. More questions coming in here, Philip. One of the questions that one question someone is asking actually. Let me just try and get it back.
It's called Master of Fades in Westmall. 3 people messaged me to ask me how do I get my hair to look so nice. My barber is Master of Fades in Westmall, and he real talented. Feel free to go and visit him and book an appointment. He ain't cheap, but he worth it.
He ain't cheap, but he worth it. Hold on, a call coming in here, Philip. Oh God, hey, the phone's slowing down, you know. 1 second. Hi, good night, you're live.
Hi.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Ask my question now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Prime Minister. Good evening, Trinidad. Something I have not seen in Trinidad is innovation. I don't see builders. We seem to be dependent on solutions for everything from Trinidad, from the US. Trinidad should have been at the forefront of the oil industry, like when it comes to innovations and inventions. You know, we've only been doing it for 100 years. Medical innovation, science, tech. Trinidad, we have missed the boat on that. But we're now entering the world of artificial intelligence. With all the good and bad that goes with AI, what are you going to do to put Trinidad at the forefront of this revolution? That's my question.
What is the question at the end of it? Because I agree on everything he said.
What are you going to do to put Trinidad into
to encourage innovation?
Yes, to encourage innovation.
Okay, so I was the person who told Trinidad that the television set was invented in Santa Cruz in Trinidad. David, did you know that?
I did not know that.
The television set, the prototype was invented in Santa Cruz.
I know that the first one was invented here in Lopino, right?
Trinidadians are very, we said this earlier, Trinidadians are very talented people, and every school should have the facilities to give people the opportunities. When Satish said just now, it was the technocrats, it was the people who handle, who get their hands dirty, that the world turned to for the 2 years of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's no joke. We need to encourage more and more people to choose. We have an air conditioning industry in the world because a man invented a way to take moisture out of the air, and they used it for an ailing president of the United States, and then they realized it was cooling the room, and that's how you end up with air conditioning. A lot of things became something other than what it was originally invented for. Viagra was supposed to be a pill for kidney disease. There was an unusual side effect, and they marketed it for its side effect. I'm saying that to you so you understand. We have friends, we have people in Trinidad and Tobago that go away in the world and become things that if they were given the opportunity here, they would have become it here. I absolutely agree with that caller. The Progressive Empowerment Party is the party that spoke about the activist council. We created the idea of an activist council. Besides our cabinet and our government, we would invite the leaders of every activist group. So I want Gary Griffith and team to hear me, how much I respect activists. And once a month, we would take all of the activists in the country, register with us, and you can be activists for anything. Activists for dogs, activists for women's rights, activists for the environment, And come, activists for fishermen, activists for farmers, come and go to lunch with us, and we have an open mic. And the cabinet will be there having lunch with you. And you raise the issues that are affecting the ground, because the activists are the people with their ears to the ground. Activists for children issues, activists for education, activists for parents' rights. A lot of these things that the government may not be aware of, you can be instructed by activists who have their ears to the ground. And every month we can make the country that much better.
Well, activists supposed to be standing up for much more and calling out much more in Trinidad and Tobago. And as you said, we have weak activists in Trinidad and Tobago. Quite frankly, the only activism is from the Progressive Empowerment Party. All right, Captain Griffith, PEP. But given all of that, we know that the Pitch Lake is possibly leased to the Chinese. And someone is asking here, and I'll ask the question as it is. Good night, say, do you have a plan regarding the Pitch Lake, Lake Asphalt? Do we even own it?
That was actually a question why I joined the PEP. Phillip, 4 or 5 years ago, and he asked where does the money from our Pitch Lake go, and I never thought about it. And I said, this man talking some sense. Let me go and join a meeting.
Yeah, I remember the first couple of times I asked about the Pitch Lake, people didn't even know what the hell I was talking about. And we had a Pitch Lake, but nobody thought to ask, where's the money? I kept checking budgets, and I said, where is the allocation from the Pitch Lake? What did we make? We make this from oil, this from gas. What would we make from pitch? There are millions of miles of roads in the world paved with Trinidad pitch. Where's that money? Anyway, we get into government. Whatever agreement exists with our Pitch Lake, we will break it.
You'll break it?
We'll break it, and we'll renegotiate it. Eminent domain. The people of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to tell you something, David. I want to say this clear. I want Michael who represented the Chinese business interest, the important Chinese business interest, to hear me. All them debts that we're talking about, we owing $2 billion US to China for Napa and Sapa and all them things. Come back and take Napa and Sapa. Don't touch my port. All those deals that they're talking about making, to sell port and sell Wassa and sell TSTT. Telecommunications, you don't sell that. The 5 richest men in the world, 4 of them in telecommunications. If you sell TSTT, we'll take it back. I don't care who you sell it to. If you sell it to Trump, if you sell it to Trump's cousin, we'll undo the deal and take it back. And I want them to hear me come in. That the people of Trinidad and Tobago need to have ownership. Our port could be generating billions of dollars every year, and that should go to the upkeep of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And if Trinidadians really wanted a proper quality of life, they would vote a government that tells them all of these truths and give them all of this support.
All right. Well, that is almost all of the questions, unless you have more questions coming in, Phillip.
No, but I just wanted to touch base here, and I wanted to give Satish an opportunity.
Hold that. As no questions coming in, more coming in. Hi, good night. You're live.
Hello, good night.
Yes, sir.
I would like to know PEP's position on the fishing industry and the safety of fishermen while they're out at sea, especially pertaining to the piracy and pirates and whatnot and stuff.
So repeat your question. Okay, so he wants to know the PP policy on the safety of fishermen out at sea and pirates and all of that took place.
Our maritime security wall. Our maritime security wall that will stop the flow of drugs and guns into the country and human trafficking will also protect our fishermen. Up to our maritime borders, that maritime security wall will be manned and they will be protected. It will no longer be the wild, wild west out at sea.
No longer. And you wanted to say something just before.
Now, who, Satish?
You.
I wanted to ask Satish about if he could weigh in on, because I know he wanted to talk to other people who wanted to volunteer, who come and get on board as shadow MPs. We're screening right now. We actually screening volunteers who could be redirected to local government should a local government election be called. But anybody want to volunteer to assist on the 19th? Anybody want to come and sign up? Satish, you can take it from there.
There's a link on Phillip's page. Anybody who wants to volunteer, we got a real nice response. I put it up today, and we got a real nice response. Tomorrow they'll be contacted. Anybody who's willing to come and volunteer, anybody who's looking to become a shadow MP, anybody who's looking to help out in any way, you can give me a call, 796-8172. That's my number. I just wanted to ask Philip, everybody asking Philip questions there. I just wanted to ask Philip something. At the beginning, he said how there's nothing sexy, almost sexier than a Philip show, right? But I think there's something sexier, and as a PEP meeting, a PEP public meeting, over 10,000 people, right?
Indeed.
Philip
Or
cannot do it.
or a David show. We ever gonna? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
But Philip, I want to ask you, if 10,000 people show up on Saturday, what do you think the politicians are going to do to this to fix? How do you think that they're going to react on Sunday when they wake up in the morning and they see all those people?
People who didn't get water before getting water. All of a sudden, Rohan Senan will be, that truck that they buy to fix pothole, he'll pull it out, dust it off, and send it on the road to fix pothole. A lot of things that
let me go. This is a foreign call actually, so I had to take the foreign call. You know, money expensive overseas. Is US we trading in? Hi, good night. You're live.
Good night. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm good.
Just wondering. I live in Canada for a long time now. I can't get back to Trinidad because I don't have a Trinidad passport, and they need a new birth certificate, some kind of electronic thing. How am I supposed to get that?
Have you given up your citizenship? Have you renounced your citizenship of Trinidad and Tobago?
He's asking if you renounce your citizenship of Trinidad and Tobago.
No, man. I'm not even a
If
citizen
you
again.
never,
I live here
if
since
you,
1975. But I watched Phillip
Why
now
can't you
for a
come back to
long
Trinidad?
time, and the man had the right thing going. So I need to come down and help, but it ain't no way for me to get down there without my passport.
let me tell you this, if you've not renounced your citizenship of Trinidad and Tobago, as a policy, government has to renew you based on any documentation you have or any proof that you can make that you're a citizen. So there's that. And yeah, we need all the foreign-based Trinis to come back home and help. Satish, you're going to say something?
I was asking the question, why can't he come back to what's stopping him coming back? Are you American?
He come on his Canadian passport. He come on here.
Are you Canadian?
David is still there? David Caller still there?
He said he'll.
There's probably a delay.
WhatsApp.
Yeah, I was trying to get you on WhatsApp.
No, it's a problem. 682-2110.
What's it?
Hi, good night. You're live. Sorry about that. I really cut him there. Hi, good night.
Pleasant good night, Uncle Phil. His opinion, Bob.
Opinion? Oh God, we're sorry if we bad talk activism, eh? But go ahead, ask the question.
I'm not activist, I'm a vlogger, so I see, right? I have a question to ask you. If elected into government, what is the first thing you will do where constitutional reform is concerned to make sure that our nation never falls back into the state that it is right now under the atrocities that is being done by all the past governments before you? What will you change in our constitution immediately? I'll listen off here.
The most pressing and important change that we need is the ability to fire elected officials. Every bingo club, every football club, everybody, if you take up a position and you're failing at that position, you could be fired. Only in Trinidad could you fail for 5 years and people put up with it. Recall the right to fire. I mentioned earlier when Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for elections in California. He ran for elections because the governor was recalled. He was fired. And that's what we need to be able to do. If under certain circumstances, and that will be legislated, anybody who is not performing to the level they promised, anybody engaged in any wrongdoing, the citizens, the electorate that voted them into office could recall them. And that's the most important thing.
Sorry, I wasn't hearing you too good there, but I know it came true. It's just my piece here. But someone is asking me, apart from the abolition of the SCA, what other fundamental changes you see the PEP doing to take our educational system to the next level?
This is the most important thing. You must begin with the end in sight. So somebody asked earlier, what other industries we would get into? Once you identify those industries, Satish said, technocrats and technicians are important. Yes. When you identify the industries you want to get into, then you know that you need people with certain skill sets and training. So then you set up your education system with that in mind. So your tertiary education will be instructing the type of engineers you're looking for, and then your secondary education will start to prepare people for such tertiary education, and it will dovetail seamlessly into people coming out of university able. And if you need engineers and certain types of technicians, and you give them free education in exchange for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years that you're serving the state. You're serving the state, you still get a stipend, you're still going to be able to live, but you're paying back for it, and you end up with after you work off your stipend 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you end up now with experience and qualifications. You can walk in anywhere and get a job.
I'm going to throw back to Satish now because I asked him real questions. Satish.
He busy there.
So, the event is coming up November 19th. Who are some of the key speakers for that event?
And I want to tell you this, again, we have to engage in surreptitious event planning, and every one of our speakers coming on that stage needs to be a surprise, and I'll tell you why. I have enough experience to know if I announce that I'll be on CNC3 in the morning, I could show up at CNC3 and A, somebody else bounce it, B, somebody didn't find it, C, somebody call and get them to cancel it, D, all of a sudden their internet not working. And I've had all of those experiences, enough to know that if I call the names of persons who's speaking, they could actually be threatened and bribed. It happened to me once with a very senior road engineer who was coming on one of my shows, and I announced it, and then he got motivated to not come on the show. And that's how the country is. People say they're afraid to get in to service. I want to get people to come out there and speak. So after that, the information is in the public space. We are going to talk to Trinidad and Tobago about not just what's wrong, but how to fix it. And we've been doing that for quite some years now. A lot of the things that people talking to us about, that even some of the questions we get into that, I'm feeling so proud is that we put that train on that track and we've asked those questions first.
To Satish here, what is your opinion on government officials using our own medical facilities?
Well, that's easy. If our government officials can't use our own medical facilities, and they hop in on a plane, they go into their own hospitals away. What's the point? Well, why they want to say that we have the best medical facilities in the Caribbean. I mean, prove it. If we have the best facilities in the Caribbean, come to our medical facilities. But if not, then these politicians, they should be forced. They should be forced to use our own medical facilities. And if not, then we know that they're not doing a good job.
I didn't want to send that question to you because I know your answer on that. I saw your post.
It's on the wall today.
I saw the post. But I agree there. Getting a call, but it just hung up. So.
Yeah, we had to wrap up because I had to get up real early in the morning for that radio interview. I can leave you all, and I want to thank you for having me. I don't know if you're going to wrap up now. If you're going to continue the show,
No. We go ahead and wrap up together because if you leave, it's just going to be a black space in the middle there because this crashed for you. This crashed a long time. All right? So thank you so much for joining us, Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, we have so much more of these planned with different guests, different people, a whole different panel. I guess I had to take this one in, Philip. This one coming in via text messages. Person trying to call so long ago.
Could I just ask for something before you do this, please?
Yeah.
I want to ask Trinidad and Tobago, please. Sahai the silver number is 3748747. 3748747. Felicia Holder's number is 7694590. 7694590. The reason I'm giving you those two numbers is we need financial support and financial help. We need to pay for 4,000 doubles for this event on Saturday. We need to pay for 4,000 doubles.
doubles.
And $16,000 in doubles. So, we need need help. We need financial support. We don't go to the contract mafia. We don't have political investors. We're not selling your birthright to get money to run a political party. We're asking you to dig deep. And if you can help us with a couple $100, a couple $1,000, please, 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 please reach out to Felicia Hole at 769-4590 or Sahai Silva at 374-8747. And I want to move like one of those preachers in America. I sensing that there is somebody outside there that wants to write a check for $50,000. Tonight is the night to write that check. Tonight is
You know what, Philip? I'm gonna write that check, but I'm afraid it go bounce back,
you,
you know.
Guys,
you are loud.
Yeah, we need help. We really need the help to the party. And I see the amount of stress we put on poor Felicia in terms of money. Every day we go and ask, hey, we want double, we want doubles, we want a stage, we want lighting, we want everything. These things cost a lot of money, and we need the help. So please, I mean, $100, $500, $1,000.
And I'm willing to exchange. I'm willing to exchange. If your product is good, if your service is good, and we could say, you know, we can get behind it. We did an interview. We did have a video in, what's it called, iShops in the Bamboo. We just did a 2-minute video walking through the store and just talking some shit with the people working there. And then about 100,000 views right now.
97,000 views. They reached 97,000. I'm looking forward to each
In
100,000 by tomorrow.
So it's not even 2 days. And of the 97,000 views, every single one of them saying, I didn't know the store existed, and going there. This video changed their lives. And we willing to do that for anybody. We will help you once your product good. I mean, Felicia get trapped with that her latest client, what business they're in. Satish, I hear there was a video. Anyway, joke and fun aside, we really need your help. No, but just now when I said I'm going to say it like a preacher, I was saying it like a preacher. I am watching the three of us on the screen, and I watched Satish and David smile at the same time, and I could see you all spend a lot of time watching preachers preaching on TV so that you know. Yeah? But for anybody outside there who feeling motivated right now to write a check, if you heard us tonight and you think that we have a chance, listen, we can either be jackasses wasting this much of our lives, or you can come on board and take what we are and take it to the next level, because we need financial help to get there. Help us make it a reality. The foreign-based Trinis who want to come back home, who want a first world Trinidad and Tobago, but the same Trinidad you used to run around in when you was a child, please, 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 please. 769-4590 is Felicia Holder's number, and 374-8747 is Sahai Silva, or you can message Satish 7968172 or me 6822110. I have a telephone number 702-Phil Indira Singh, our assistant. Any of those numbers, please. A couple $100, a couple $1,000. The event, as David said, is on Saturday coming, and we have bills to pay. We have $20-something thousand to pay for stage and lights and stuff. We want to give a real nice production. We have nice entertainment, some special guest performers. You're going to have a real good time. It's free food, drinks, parking, security. Help contribute it and make it a real good time for everybody.
If you have a credit card, you can go to our website right now, peptt.com, and click on donate, and you can help us.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that's back to me now.
Back to the David Welch Sexy Show.
All right, so nice. So you've heard where you can go, pptt.com, if you have a credit card and want to donate. You've heard the numbers for Sahai, Felicia, Satish. If you could call it out one more time.
I think Satish will put it up on the screen.
374-8747. Felicia 769-4590. Of course, there's the website, peptt.com. And you could go to your credit card and donate.
Now, this better be a lucky call for donations. Last call for tonight. Hi, good night.
I just have one quick question before you all go. How are you all going to encourage the younger people to come out and vote for PEP? Like from the age of 18 to about 25. That's all I want to know. Thank you.
And I want to call it to hear me say this, that is our second largest demographic is young people. We've brought more young people into active politics than any other party. Look at David Welch. David Welch the man is passion. When he talk, I thought I had passion. This man is getting tired. So I know that the young people, our demographics are the very elderly and senior women, for some reason, have adopted us from the start, and young people. Yeah, I think Gunman in your hole helped.
I'll disagree.
Because
But not just that, and you know we're receiving too much calls, so we really had to wrap up. But not just that, but in February of 2022 is when I would have joined the Progressive Empowerment Party, and as of today, I have signed up a variety of youths to the youth arm of the Progressive Empowerment Party. And in fact, we are assisting a large variety of youths as well in getting their ID card and getting them ready to vote for the PP in
well,
time to come.
see what I mean?
So,
See what I mean? The boy has so much energy. You know what he need? He need a team. David, and I know you have people around here, but David Welch needs, and if you want to join and volunteer for the youth arm, we want to have the most vibrant youth arm. Our youth arm is not just about getting on the vote. Our youth arm is drilling down to issues with you so that you understand how to plan your future, and it is drilling down to get from you what you want for a future, what you see as a future for Trinidad and Tobago, so we can align all of our policies to purpose and make everybody happy.
I know I said it's the last caller, but it's a foreign number. I mean, this could be a donation. Hi, good night, you're live.
Hi, good day. This is my name is Padir Lalu. I'm from Australia, and
Wow.
I've been looking at the program going on, and I just have a question because I follow you all closely. I'm originally from Saxon, Trinidad and Tobago, and I was just wondering what does the CEP have in place for elderly citizens, specifically those who are on no longer working, like they have pensions and any sort of assistance, government assistance that will be coming in, especially like single parents as well. Like for instance, my mom lives alone. She's 64 years old, and the current assistance she's getting is not that much. So it really can't do anything, So just wondering.
We want to make for our retirees and senior citizens the last years of their lives to be golden years of their lives. We want to make sure that all pensions are tied to the cost of living and make sense. We're going to remove VAT from all items, especially devices, appliances, and medical medicines that are necessary. We are going to also create opportunity for retirees and the elderly to give back. A lot of people, science shows that contributing in your senior years keeps you active, it keeps your mind sharp, and it makes you live longer. So those same things we talked about, making the classrooms available for those who have knowledge and experience, who would like to pass it on to others, that they could, but we would make sure that even things we wanna make our seniors as important, at least as our senators, take taxes out of their lives, utilities and all of those things. We want to make it possible. If you're a senior citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, you would get a transport pass, and you stop any bus and you get on board, and you go anywhere for free. You get on the boat to go to Tobago, you go for free. We have to respect our seniors and treat them with love so that the children growing up have something to look forward to and believe in the country that they're living in.
Nice. And to wrap up, right there, go ahead.
I just want to say one thing. Last week, my mother went to Tunapuna, the NIS office, to sign her life certificate. And she was amazed at the kind of treatment, the good treatment that she got. And I just want to say, they have good people out there in the country.
Absolutely.
And they're trying their best. They're trying their best with what little they have. The problem is the people on the higher ups that are not giving them the resources to do their jobs, and it's difficult. But she was very happy. She had a very good experience. And I thought, you're going there and you have to line up and all this different stuff and all kind of thing there. And I was so happy for her. So there are good people out there. I know you guys. I know it's frustrating because you don't get what you work. You don't get what you want in work, and your salary.
The work environment is not conducive to living every year.
It is up to the government. It is up to the people in charge to make sure that all our citizens are happy. You talked about the happiness index. We could probably talk about that tomorrow. So
Indeed.
For sure. And to wrap it all up, given that we spoke about youths just 2 questions ago, what we're doing now, a part of the youth arm to the Progressive Empowerment Party, is trying to do a toy drive this Christmas for various of constituencies across Trinidad and Tobago. And we are getting toys donated from our members to distribute to a large portion and also getting sponsors involved to distribute toys to a large variety of people, children mainly in Trinidad and Tobago. Now that will come.
Touch base with me on that, David. I have some friends who are in business, and I think that would make a contribution of toys and stuff to your cause.
Not a problem. Will do. Well, thank you so much to everyone that joined us tonight. The political leader, Phillip Edward Alexander, party organizer, Satish Ramsaran, UTAM chairman, myself, who hosted, as well as Satish hosted this special edition tonight here.
See you
with the
tomorrow.
Political leader. See you tomorrow for sure. See you guys tomorrow and see you on the 19th. On the 19th, come on down and meet the political leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party. Meet all of us. Meet the entire PEP team. If you still have doubts, come on down to the 19th. Meet the key featured speakers for that event, and the featured address will be given by the political leader, Phillip Alexander. I'll go to say Phillip Edward Alexander, but come on, Phillip Alexander. I'm tired, so good night, Trinidad and Tobago, and see you all tomorrow. Stay safe.
Good night, everybody.